Welcome back. Now with us we have Mr. Kingsley Bature. He is a licensed family life practitioner and professional life coach and counselor. He has over 2 decades of experience in the relationship and personal improvement space. Today's topic is an interesting one. We're talking boundaries and why every relationship needs them. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm always delighted to be here.
So boundaries is something not a lot of couples want to talk about because it brings up issues that a lot of people try to avoid or maybe shove under the carpet.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's just better to ignore them for a period of time.
For sake of national peace.
Exactly. So what sort of boundaries are we talking about today? I know there are different types of boundaries. So let's begin from there.
There are several types of boundaries. You can talk about emotional boundaries.
Sure.
You can talk about financial boundaries. You can talk about even relational boundaries, right? There are many issues you can look at. But when I talk about boundaries, most people say not talking about it gives peace, creates peace.
Yeah.
But I say we actually need to talk about it for the sake of national peace. I'll give you an example. Every nation, most nations, before you come into the nation, they have to give you a visa.
Okay,
right?
sure.
So, but before you get a visa, they have to get some information about you.
Sure.
Get details, do some research, do some findings. And it's the same thing with relationship. Any land that doesn't have a boundary or a border, anything goes.
So it's no man's land.
Is no man's land. You are not. In fact, even the value or the worth of that land is watered down. So if you want the value of your relationship to be at its optimum, you got to put boundaries. You have to put those boundaries, and those boundaries are often based off of knowledge. The Bible would say, deal with your partner as with wisdom, as with knowledge.
Okay.
So it means that you have to have enough knowledge. And that brings me to financial boundaries, or boundaries that people don't want to talk about. For example, there is the common notion that, some people will tell you, the man is the head of the family.
Sure.
So because the man is the head of the family, he's the one that must have the say on every matter of...
the final
say.
Okay.
But the question I want to ask is, how should we come to that final say? The process in getting to the final say, is the gender the determinant of who has best understanding of finances? So, for example, the man may be like I used to be. I used to be a Father Christmas, a spendthrift. So if I was a spendthrift and the family's resources are committed to me, will the family's best interest be covered? Meanwhile, my wife is a more prudent CFO in her office.
Yeah. So she understands finances more than you.
finances more than I do.
She probably even understands how to invest more than you.
More than I do. So it means that in certain boundaries, the best interest of the relationship must be at the center.
You know, you've given quite a few analogies here. You've given an analogy of that you just gave just now. You also mentioned, countries without boundaries. And the fact that there's more value placed on that land when there are boundaries.
Yes.
But then someone has to set those boundaries.
Yes.
How do you begin the process of boundary setting or actually coming to some kind of agreement?
Okay, so I would put it this way, right? Let me give you 3 C's.
Okay.
I'll call it collaboration,
Okay.
I'll call it communication, and I'll call it coordination, right? If I start from the back, if I start from the front, collaboration. What does everyone bring
To the table.
to the table?
Okay.
What is your input in the relationship? Are you the one that, for example, if we take finances, what does everyone bring includes who makes the money?
Yeah, of course.
Is it both parties?
Okay.
Who makes more money? Okay, it's A and B. And then you now find out, but who is a better manager of money?
Okay.
Who has better understanding, and who has better understanding of managing finances? And if we have a case where maybe between both of you just know how to make money, but you don't have a good understanding of managing finances, then get a third party. But
So
that brings
like
us
a
right back
financial
to
manager.
financial manager. That brings us to where we're talking coordination.
Yeah.
Coordination speaks about strategy. So what is the strategy we're going to imply to ensure that what we are bringing to the table goes for the best interest of the family? And then communication is actually the one that ties both together, because communication means that we have to be honest with ourselves to be able to say, what am I bringing? What am I bringing? And communication also helps us to talk about those things that we don't want to talk about, which is the fact that some people,
some people are sensitive. They don't want to hear certain truths.
Yes.
And indeed, sometimes touching on topics like this is passing a boundary that person has set. So, for instance, if your spouse, I'm talking about a husband now, or a male partner, has said, look, don't talk to me about my money. That is a boundary. He has put a boundary there. Look, I will sort it out. Don't ask me how. That is still a boundary. So there's a fine line that we need to sort of define here.
So that's why we say there are boundaries, and then there are healthy boundaries.
Okay.
Now, I can have a boundary, like if I use the analogy you just made, a boundary that don't talk to me about money. Now, the question is, are we in a marital relationship?
Okay.
Are we in, what level of relationship are we? Are we just doing boyfriend, girlfriend? Are we just catching cruise? Now, depending on the level of the relationship we are, we have to now come to the table and say, what is the best interest of this relationship?
Okay.
What, for myself, for yourself, for children? Of course, part of the reason why some people have these boundaries is that trust is eroded.
Trust issues.
Trust issues. So because they have trust issues, you now find out that I cannot commit certain things. Somebody even said to us once, and he said, if my wife knows what I am earning, she will take me out. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But that's a trust issue right there.
Sure.
So, but that's where communication comes in. By communication, you are able to know what can I commit to this person based on knowledge.
So maybe even if it is a percentage, you are still sharing. You still have to share
it.
Okay.
So you can earn what you earn, but you say what I'm bringing to the table is this percentage, and this is the percentage we are going to make a decision on. That's where communication is key.
So we still have quite a few areas we could have touched on this issue, but I'm hoping we can throw that to social media and have our audience do the talking at this point. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tell us, what do you think proper boundaries should look like? Healthy boundaries should look like? Financial boundaries, emotional boundaries, relational boundaries. There's quite a lot to take from this particular discussion. We can't wait to see and hear your thoughts. Let's take a quick break. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.